Alright, so what's up, guys? I'm gonna bring you a deck profile today for my 2019 Mayakashi deck control thing. Yeah, so first video didn't go all the way through because I guess I didn't have enough space. So let's try this again. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and start this profile off with 3 Hajun, the Winged Mayakashi. Pretty much with him, when he's normal special summon, you can special summon one Mayakashi monster from your deck, and then as soon as you activate his effect, you're locked out from special summoning anything other than Mayakashi from your extra deck. So yeah, 3 copies of him. We're going to go ahead and also run the staple, 3 copies of Shiranui Solitaire. Again, great card, playmaker of the deck. Whenever he's summoned, you can, well, normal summon, you can activate his effect to tribute him, special summon a zombie monster from your deck with 0 defense. Again, great card, playmaker of the deck. Gets plays going. We're going to be running 3 copies of Mizuki, the monster reborn on legs. Yeah. So, whenever a zombie monster is in the graveyard, obviously everybody knows you could banish him, target the monster in your graveyard, and special summon it to the field. And it's not a once per turn effect, so you can mill as many Mizukis off to the graveyard as you'd like, and use his effect. All 3 of his effects in that turn. We're gonna run with the new Mayakashi monster, Yuki Musume, the Ice Mayakashi. She is really great in the deck because with her, if you control another Mayakashi monster on the board and she's either in your hand or graveyard, you could special summon her from either the graveyard or your hand to the field, and then you can mill 1 zombie monster from your deck off to the graveyard. Really good card. Running her at 2. Anything more, too cloggy. I'm going to go ahead with 2 copies of Unizombie in the deck. Not really much to say here about him because, again, I'm sure everybody that plays him, or anybody that plays zombie decks, they already know what it is. But yeah, I run 2 copies in this variant of the deck. Normally, I see people with 3 copies of him, but 2 or 3 copies isn't that bad. 2 copies don't really hurt the deck. Next up, I'm running 2 copies of Danger Mothman. Literally one of the best danger monsters to date in the game, in my opinion, besides Danger Sneck. This and Sneck are probably the best cards, hands down, that the Danger archetype came out with. Monster-wise, I'm sure there's other good spell and traps cards that are good dangers. For the one-ofs of the deck, Glow Up Bloom. I'm not really going to take the time to explain what he does because, again, most zombie players and most people that play zombie decks already know what he does, but pretty much when he's sent to the graveyard, you can target a level 5 or higher zombie monster, add to your hand, and if zombie world's on the field, you can special summon it to the board, which is nice because he'll get out your Balderrock, usually first turn. One of the targets, again, for Glow Up Bloom, Vampire Fraulein. The synergy of this deck is just simply amazing. That you could just bring out Fraulein whenever during battle phase and subtract your life points and multiples of 100 to boost your monster up to beat over your opponent's other monsters, which is nice. Great card for the deck. Trying to get this thing to stay still. Boss monster of the zombies, Doom King Balderrock. Great card. Really good for the control variant because you can negate a zombie monster's effect that activates, or you can banish a card from the field or graveyard. So you can use both of these effects, just not the same effect in the same chain. So he's really good. I would run him at 2 at max, but I only have the 1 copy of him as well. So same thing goes for Glow Up Bloom. I would run that at a 2 max, but those are the only copies, so I have to pick up more. Daki, her effect is when she gets special summoned, my bad. When she is summoned to the field, you could start your synchro climbing with her, with Hajun or Yuki Musume. But whenever it's a Mayakashi monster is special summoned from the graveyard, or not just from the graveyard, but yeah, when it's special summoned from the extra deck, my bad. Yes, when a Mayakashi monster is special summoned from the extra deck, you can special summon her back from the graveyard. So that's really good for the synchro climbing of this deck, because she just literally just comes right back from the graveyard to let you just climb that ladder of synchroing. I probably butchered this video, but I'm trying to do it a little bit faster because it is pretty late at night from where I'm at. Running one copy of Shiranui Spirit Master in the deck. It's a good card because when it gets banished from the graveyard, you can pop one card on the field. One face-up card your opponent controls. Had to specify that. Going to be running the one Necro World Banshee because, again, why not have a card that can go from the field, quick effect, banish it, and get your Zombie World out on the board as soon as possible, so you can start that control on the field of your opponent. That was it for the monster lineup. We're going to go into the spells. We're going to try to run through this pretty quick. Zombie World, great spell card for the zombie deck. Still one of the best field spells today, other than Mystic Mine, because it has the great combos, especially with Rivalry of Warlords on the field. It really just stops a lot of people's plays with this. We're going to be running, obviously, 2 terraformings, self-explanatory. Don't really got to go ahead and go in depth with much about this card because, again, it's terraforming, self-explanatory. We're running 2 copies of Book of Life here. You can target one card in your opponent's, or target one zombie monster in your graveyard and one monster in your opponent's graveyard. Special summon the first target and banish the second target. So great for getting your stuff out and great for removing stuff from your opponent's graveyard so they don't have much material. Mayakashi Return. Really good spell card. You can add one Mayakashi monster or Mayakashi card from your deck to your hand, or send it to the graveyard, except for you cannot add another Mayakashi Return from your deck. And I run 2 copies of this. I wouldn't run any more copies of this because, again, it's not a pure variant of the Mayakashis. It's only a Mayakashi beatdown, I guess I would say it would be. So only 2 copies for that. Necronize in the deck. Again, with this card, when there is a level 5 or higher zombie monster on the field, you can target one of your opponent's monsters and steal it for that turn, and then it goes back. But when this card is sent to the graveyard during your main phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can shuffle one of your banished zombie monsters into the deck and then set this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. So this card's really good because with Zombie World on the field, if your opponent has out any level 5 or higher monsters on the board that become zombies due to Zombie World, you can take them and literally just use it against your opponent, and then during your main phase too, you can just use that monster and link it off so your opponent doesn't get it back. 2 Desires, not really sure about why I threw this in there, but probably a good enough reason. Yeah, not really going to explain much with Desires because Pot agreed with the cost. 1 card Destruction in the deck, because zombies like to be in their graveyard, so it's great, and it really would mess up plays with your opponent or help them out. Kind of a double-edged sword there with that card, but it's worth a chance. 1 for 1 is another good card. Helps you get out your Glow Up Bloom in situations that if you don't have anything in your plan, anything in your hand, you can at least use this card to start your plays off and get your Link Kariba out and go from there. Foolish Burial. You can, well, obviously it's Foolish Burial. Self-explanatory there. Literally just use this to get stuff going in your zombie deck. Anything can get it going. Get your Necro World Banshee to the graveyard to get Zombie World onto the board, or get your Glow Up Bloom from your deck to the graveyard so you can get your Doom King Balderok onto the board if you already have Zombie World to the field. Burial from a different dimension is really good because then at that point you could just target your Mizukis or whatever you banished at that point in time with your deck and shuffle them back into the graveyard. So you can just redo everything again with that. I run 1 copy of that. I would run 2, but I don't do a lot of banishing in this deck. So 1 is just perfectly fine. 1 Called by the Grave. You need to run a playset of this card. Currently, my other 2 copies are in my Evil Eye deck right now, so I'm going to be dealing with the 1 of this because hand traps, they suck. Or anything that your opponent has in your graveyard, especially with the Salamangrates, you want to hit their stuff, like Spinny or Foxy, so they don't get those graveyard effects off to ruin your day. 1 Call of the Mummy because why not get a special summon and then a normal summon into the start your plays out with? It's a great card. Another great card for the zombie deck. That's it for the spell lineup. We're going to move on to the trap lineup. I run 2 copies of Rivalry of Warlords so I can get those plays in with my zombie world, because once zombie world's out on the board and you have Rivalry of Warlords, your opponent can no longer do any summons and they're locked out of their extra deck. And from there it's just like, okay, you can just do so much with this. It's a great combo. Great combo. And then last but not least for the main deck, I run 1 Shiranui style Swallow Slash. Again, this combo goes great. You could just tribute a zombie monster and then pop 2 of your opponent's monsters, and then you can banish 1 from the deck to the graveyard, or you can banish 1 card from your deck. So that's whenever you go ahead and activate this card and target your Spirit Master in deck as you banish, and then you get 3 pops for the price of 1 card. I run this at a 1. I think that's really all you need in this deck. That's it for the main deck. We're going to go ahead and try to do the extra deck. Hopefully I have enough space on my phone, and hopefully I can get through this. We're going to run this pretty quickly. We got 3 copies of Ouroboros, I don't know. We'll just say the Wheeled Mayakashi, because I'm not going to take the time to pronounce these cards. Yeah, these cards, when they got brought out to the board, they don't really have much effects, but whenever they're special summoned back from the graveyard, you can monsters this turn cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, if he's destroyed, if a synchro monster in your possession whose original level is 5 is destroyed, you can bring him back out from the graveyard to the field, and then his secondary effect activates. So they all have the first effect that goes off, and then a second effect that comes into play from them being special summoned. Then we're going to run, we have 3 Tsuchigumo, the poisonous Mayakashi. If a synchro monster in your possession whose original level is 7 is destroyed by battle or your opponent's card effect while this is in your graveyard, you can banish 1 of the zombie monster from your graveyard, and if you do, special summon this card. And then if this card is special summoned, each player sends the top 3 of their cards from their deck to the graveyard. So they all have that first effect that does something if their higher up is destroyed, then their second effect pops. It comes into play when they're brought back from the graveyard. I run 1 copy of Tengu, the Winged Mayakashi. Whenever a synchro monster whose original level is 8 or level is 9 is destroyed by battle, you can special summon this card from the graveyard. And when he's special summoned, you can destroy 1 spell or trap card your opponent controls. Really great card. I run 2 copies of Yoko, the Graceful Mayakashi. Now, whenever this guy is special summoned from the graveyard, I can destroy 1 monster my opponent controls. From the graveyard, that is. Then we have the Skeletal Mayakashi. When he's special summoned back from the graveyard, this turn, this face-up card is unaffected by other card effects. Jeez. And then I'm running 1 copy of Red Eyes Zombie Necro Dragon. Pretty much he gains 100 attack and defense for each zombie monster on the field and in the graveyards. And when another zombie monster is destroyed by battle, you can special summon 1 zombie monster from either graveyard to your field, and you can only use this effect of Red Eyes Zombie Necro Dragon once per turn. really good card in the deck. He gets really beefy really quick. One Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, just because it's a really great card. And, not a lot of explaining for that. I run only one copy of him in the extra deck. For the Link monsters, I'm running one Yukioni, the Ice Mayakashi. She requires just 2 Mayakashi monsters. Now, while this card points to a Synchro monster, your opponent's monsters cannot target this card for attacks. And if a Synchro monster in your possession is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect while this card is on the field, you can target one face-up monster on the field. Its attack and defense become half its current attack and defense until the end of this turn. And then lastly, Link Karibo. Enough said for that. Yeah, that was my deck profile for the Mayakashi control variant. Let me know what you guys think. I would really appreciate if you guys would like my videos and subscribe. I need all the help I can get for my channel because I'm just starting out. So yeah, catch you guys later.